I have in the past taken profits way too soon, and the thing runs and runs and runs. And then I've also gotten so frustrated that it stopped me out again and again and again and again that I go back into my DCA trading, dollar cost averaging, and just keep adding as it's falling and adding to a losing trade and blowing up the 50K apex accounts. So I have to understand that this trend line right here that I took, this trend line break right here, got long right here. All right, target was, it almost hit my first target. My stop loss was right here. I got in right here. That's a 1-to-1. Didn't quite hit the 1-to-1. So I waited for it to, as it's going up, I also will move my stop loss up higher because I want to reduce the risk. So what I did was I moved my stop from here to here, and it came down to and got me out. So I went ahead and it would have got me out if I left it where it was at too. So I'm happy with that. I'm okay. It went below the stop loss here, so that's perfectly fine. It would have got me. All right. So I was thinking the whole time, boy, I really want to take my profits up here before it gets to 1-to-1. And sometimes I'm not saying that that's not a good thing to do on occasion. But if you're ever going to hold, if I'm ever going to hold for the big winners, for the 10x, for the big runs, I'm going to have to be willing to pay the cost of a stop loss. Okay. So I was thinking, you know what? It's going to cost me the stop loss here to train my personality and mind to hold longer. So you know what? It's the cost of education. It's the cost of transformation. And so I'm okay with that. Here I'm in another trend line break, another trend line break right here, came down, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm okay with getting in. My stop loss is down here. I've now put my 1-to-1 up there, and I'm not saying I want a 1-to-1. I'm just saying I want to hold for longer. But I guess there's times when you can expect it to go for a bigger run. And if you're getting in on a trend line at a higher part of the range, you really shouldn't expect it to go more. Take your 1-to-1. I understand the different circumstances. I understand there'll be times when I should only expect a 1-to-1 in that special circumstance. So there are times to do that. But right now, my main thing is just to train myself to hold longer, or at least hold to the 1-to-1 without getting out. The more I am able to hold a trade, so my winning trades on my statistical analysis, I want my winning trades to be held at least twice as long as the losing trades. Losing trades, I want to get out quicker, right? So you see how fast we get out of this trend line break that didn't work, right? Now, if this one stays a winner, I'll hold it. As long as it's a winner, I'll hold it. And that's the kind of the thing that I'm trying to learn to transform my mind into. If something is winning, hold it. Is it winning? I'll hold it. That's the question. Is it profitable? Then hold it. Hold it, hold it, hold it until, you can trail your stop, and then that's okay. As long as it doesn't come to stop you out, you just keep holding it, right? And that's how to get the big wins. But getting out of the trade, when I'm supposed to get out of the trade, at the stop loss that I've already predetermined, is how to get out of a losing trade quickly and consistently. And so that's what I'm going to be practicing today. I'm going to be practicing my trend line break strategies, and I'm going to be training myself, transforming myself into a person that holds the winners and gets out of the losers quickly. So that's what I'll be doing today. Let's see what happens. Okay, I accidentally got long 3 micros, which I like because I was able to scale out at 1-to-1 risk reward. Okay, stop was down here, got in right here on the trend line break, got out at 1-to-1, and I still have 2 micros, and I'm above break even, so it's a risk-free trade from this point on, and I can take another one off at higher levels. So I really need to, I guess you got to get to past certain stages first. You just got to get past the fact that you have to get this part down first. Number 1, have your stop loss in place. Don't move it. Get out when it hits. Number 2, if it's a winning trade, don't cut profits too early. Hold it until it keeps going. Just let it keep going. Once I have that part down and it's a habit and it's set in stone in my personality, and no matter how many times I try a trade and it fails and hits the stop, I just keep on with the same process. Finding good trades, getting in, holding the winners, let it stay in play as long as it's winning, and taking my stop loss when I'm supposed to. Okay, so there's been times when I've had 8 losses in a row, and that really bites because you're so determined that you're going to find that trade, and you do eventually. And some days you can barely break even with that because you're just taking too many losses. And if you break even, that is a win because you've had so many bad trades that to break even on a day like that seems some success. But you may end up with a little bit of a red. But technically, well, it depends on, if I would have took 8 losses with 3 micros each, that would have been way too much to lose. So you have to have a limit on that, I'm trying to have a limit of $500. $500 is a limit. And I think on that day I would have actually hit that. So I wouldn't have been able to keep trading. So there's going to be, I hate to get to that point. I don't want to get to that point. I don't want to ever, that's going to be the next level though. That's going to be another thing. Like if you just keep taking too many losses on that, the next thing for personality adjustment is that you have to be able to stop trading, period. Okay, so what I'm working on right now is holding my stop. Look at that, it just came right back down here. That's okay. I'm break even for the most part on this thing. I'll look for another trend line break to get back in it. That's fine. First part though is to hold your stop where you're supposed to. Second thing is to hold the winners as long as it's winning. And the third thing will be that if I'm having multiple losses in a row, that once I hit a certain amount, a daily loss limit, I need to respect that. Switch accounts or go to simulator. I don't like to go to simulator because it messes with my real money psychology. What I'm thinking is I could just switch accounts. So if I hit $500 on Apex account 1, I'll go to Apex account 2, start fresh, and that's how I'll just keep trading. Okay, so unfortunately, and this happens, and it can happen. It can come right down and take you out before going right back up in your direction. And that's okay. I'm sticking to my process. I'm going to look for another entry. I believe today's bullish. Let's take a look at why. Today, price is above yesterday. Yesterday's high, price is above it, room to the 20, plenty of room to go up. All right, it's a bullish day. We've got the 60-minute chart, price is above all the moving averages. And the 10,000 tick chart, price is above all the moving averages. It's bullish. So I will be looking for bullish trades, trend line breaks on that. So I'll be looking for the next one coming up here shortly. Okay, looking good. I got 2 different things I'm trying here. I'm doing my trend line break strategy down here. Set stop loss, everything's etched in stone. We're at 2-to-1 on this right now. I move my stop loss from down at the bottom up above break even. So it's a risk-free trade now. The other thing I'm doing up here is my $500 risk limit strategy, which means I'm not going to lose more than $500 on a trade. I've calculated my entry, my ads, and then all the way down to where I think it's going to hit the $500 maximum limit, and that's where my stop losses will ultimately be set if this trade does not go in my favor. All right, so yes, the stop loss is still being used. It's got a set amount, a set risk limit, and I can't lose more than that on that trade. This trade is designed to add to the micro if it falls and give me an average price lower. This is not dollar cost averaging. I can only add one time, and with that one add, and as far as it's moving down, you're gonna hit that $500 limit before you know it. Believe me, you don't need to keep adding. If I were to keep adding on a trade like this, then I'd say I wanted to add here 1 and I was confident it was going to go back up. Then I might add 2, but I'm still only adding 1 time, right? I'm only going to add 1 time. Whether I add 1 micro or whether I add 2 or 3 micros, when I add once, it depends on how many micros that I decide to add on that. But that would simply mean that my stop loss is not going to make it down here, because if I add more here instead of 1, If I add 2 or 3, then my stop loss is going to hit a lot sooner. So I have that flexibility and that freedom and discretion. But that's the strategy, the two strategies I'm using the most, my trend line strategy and my $500 risk strategy. So let's see how it goes. I don't know how long you've been trading, but for me, I should have this down by now. I've been dollar cost averaging in the past for so long that I have to really change and develop my personality to really set myself to think differently about my risk. Blowing Apex accounts and not really trading with a good plan or strategy or risk management. So what I'm doing here is saying that it's harder than you think to hold the winners if you have always just taken profit quickly. So that's really what I need to train on here. I really want to get better at holding the winners. Okay, as long as it's winning, hold it. So the next pivot that's created that I would trust is if it came down to these levels here, and started to turn around and go back up, then I'll move my stop to that point right there. And that's how I'm going to be trailing this. But again, you might think, oh, it's not that hard, just hold it. But it can be for some people. It can be really hard to hold. See, I'm moving my risk, my target up higher on that. And I'm thinking I'm going to bring this up a little higher here and trail it. I don't want to get it too close. But let's see right now. It's hit one. This is a 3-to-1 risk reward on this thing. It's almost there. So it's hard to really, I don't want to get greedy, but again, in order to get a 6 return, 7, 8, 10x return, you have to be able to hold it. And it's harder than you think. Okay, for me, on this 500 tick chart, is that what I'm using? Yeah, 500 tick chart. Let's see what the 2000 tick chart looks like. And then we can figure out if we have our stop in a reasonable place. That looks clean too, so I like that. 2000 ticks, not bad. Let's take a look at where my stop is and say, is it too close? Okay, so price is starting to come down to those pivots that it just broke out of. And let's take a look at that. These pivots right here that it just broke out of, here and here. And there's an order block right here on the 500. So my stop might be right at that order block, but it's definitely below these pivots if it wants to bounce on the pivot level. So hopefully I'm not too close. So I'm trying to also understand, should I just leave it at break even way down here? I want to lock in some profit though. Or should I just keep it down here and let the thing run for the whole day and see what happens? I think there'll be times when all of those are applicable. I think there'll be times when the market dictates that I take profits at 3-to-1. You should take a profit at 3-to-1. You should take a profit here. It's jumping around right here. So it's coming down to those pivots, and I hope it doesn't stop me out. I really do. Yeah, it's coming down to those pivots, and it could. If it does stop me out, I'm okay with it because I got the other trade going, where I have a $500 risk challenge on that, and so I'm still in the trade with a strategy, but I think my stop is low enough. We'll see. This thing's jumping around. We'll see what happens here. Okay, I'm just going to use that as a pivot. It hasn't broken this high right here yet, but I brought it right underneath that because if it comes crashing down here, it's probably going to be choppier and sideways and a little bit more stagnant. So I'm trusting that pullback right there, and so we'll see. All right, I like it. I'm up to let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4R return. Man, I had a 4R return the other day, and it just came all the way back down. And I broke even on the trade. But boy, when you get 4R, shouldn't you be happy with that? I mean, I don't want to get greedy, but to train myself to hold a winning trade, I'm going to have to trust that it's in a trend, and I'm going to have to trust the pivot levels that I'm picking, and just really exercise incredible discipline and patience. If it comes all the way down and I don't even get a 1-to-1 on this, that's incredibly disappointing. It really is. So, but boy, would it be worth it if this thing just keeps right on going and gets me like a 10x return. Okay, I literally had to take profit on that. It spiked up here. One of the reasons is I'm still long on the other strategy up there. I should probably close that one too.
Order filled.
All right. So I'm getting better. I'm getting better. And I'm not going to whine too much about that. How long did I hold this for? I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 hour return on that trade. 5.5, no doubt. But I don't know what this line was that I had on my charts. It must have been there for a reason, this green line. I'll have to go look. A lot of times I'll see trend lines still on my charts, and I'll know not to erase them because they're important and they'll actually serve as great reaction areas. So I decided to take it. All right. And it may still continue to go up. You're not always going to catch the entire move. And that's another thing we have to just accept, that we missed some of the move, period. We got in a little too early or too late, or we got out too early. Right. And so that's part of trading. But boy, I'm happy with a 6 hour return. If I can get 6 hour return on all my winners, I don't think I would complain too much. All right. So that's it for today. I'm going to keep trading, but I'm not sure if I'll put anything in the video. So God bless you. Take care. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.